Welcome to this video about wave theory. So in the previous video we have been talking about what is sound and what happens when I clap my hands. How does the air molecules push each other forward through the air? So already in the previous video I have been often mentioning the word waves. We have kind of a wave which travels through the air, let's say like an air molecule wave which hits our ear and then starts the eardrum starts resonating in that speed where the air, like these air molecule waves, approach our ear. So I now in this video want just to give you some background about how we talk about these waves. So it's in the end, it's literally these waves which occur in the air. Where we have high pressure and low pressure zones where the air molecules push each other forward through the air. So that's basically really these waves we talk about. What I told you before also is that these contractions of air molecules, these contractions happen in different distances. So if we have a contraction of air molecules and they push each other forward, it can be, this like pushing each other forward can always be different. So it could be that I do the clap, we get the contraction, they push each other forward, and we get another contraction here. But it could also be that we do the clap, they push each other forward, but the next contraction is just over here, so at a much larger distance. So it could be like that. So we have a second contraction here, but it could also like be that we have the first contraction here, but much further away they get contracted again. So if they approach at the human, like the eardrum starts to resonate at a different speed, and the speed depends on like the distance of this contraction happening in the air. And this is basically what we call a wave. As this is in the end sound, this is what we basically call a sound wave. So one of these contractions, like low pressure zone and then another contraction, or high pressure zone, is one sound wave. And we normally draw this in a graph. So we have two axes here, and this axis literally is the distance. Let's name this distance. And the other axis here, I will talk about that later, is basically the amplitude or the strength, like how strong this contraction occurs. So let's call this amplitude. And now if I would want to draw this upper wave here, I would basically draw it like that. So we get a contraction, they release again, we get another contraction, they release again, another contraction, release, and so on. So this is basically the sound wave in a diagram. And now we want to name certain parts in this picture here, in this graph here. First one is the wavelength. So we have one full wave, which is this. So let me use another color for this. So this is basically one full sound wave. And whenever we talk about this distance, we talk about wavelength. So like one of these contractions, low pressure zone and again contraction, is one wave, and this has a specific length. So we talk about wavelength here. And then a second thing we talk about is how high basically the waves in the graph are here, and this is, as we also named the axis, the amplitude. Amplitude. And this is literally like how strong I do the clap, if I just clap very quietly or if I do a stronger clap so the sound becomes louder. So now let's say I want to draw a sound wave which is much larger, which has much larger waves, like the second example I did here. So in this for this wave I would probably draw it more like that, something like that. So the wave is much larger. It has a much larger wavelength, which in this case would reach over here. So this thing is very important for you to understand when we start to talk about sound waves, about wavelength. Also when we want to do calculations connected to speed of sound, and especially when we will talk about frequencies, it's crucial that you understand this concept. So at this picture you can again see the waves drawn here. So we we have here again the wavelength. We have here the amplitude, both of them labeled like here and here. So I hope this concept makes sense to you, and I'm looking forward to see you in the next video where we will talk about what is actually a frequency.